Welcome back, friends. And today we're going to continue working on our Marc Chagall inspired oil pastel drawing. And it's inspired, of course, by his painting I in the Village. So ours has a lot of stuff about ourself and our village or our community. So there's five, that each of us should have on our paper. One, of course, is ourself. Next is our house. Next, we either have the sun or the moon or both, trees or flowers or both, and then something that's important to us. So for mine, I put my cat Miles. She kind of goes right off the edge of my paper. And then I also included my ring because that is also important to me, and J is important to me, so that's kind of a symbol of both of us together. Now, once I have everything laid out, if I have any big open spaces, I can still go back with my white oil pastel and work on filling those in. So like over here, I kind of have a big open space. So maybe I'll have like Miles's tail coming up over here. And then I'm also going to add maybe a few more flowers, maybe add some leaves, just thinking about some details maybe that I might have missed last week, and details that will help me fill in any empty spaces that I have going around. Now, once I'm finished with adding those in, and I can always come back and add more stuff in as I work, now I'm ready to start adding color. Remember that when we're working with our oil pastels, we have all these different colors here in the bin, but that doesn't mean those are the only colors that I can have to work with. I can make my own colors. And the nice thing about oil pastels is that they blend together really easily. So for example, for my hair, when I start coloring that in, I don't have to pick just red or orange or yellow. I can mix colors together and make sort of my own custom color. And remember, with Marc Chagall, one of the things that he was known for was his use of colors. And we've talked a lot, especially last year, about how different colors can affect our emotions or can portray our emotions. And when I'm working on filling myself in, I don't have to use realistic colors. Now, the reason that we worked with the white oil pastels last week, and I may have mentioned this last week, but it's always good to remember, is that when we're working with the white pastels, they're going to blend in a lot easier than, say, working with a black pastel. So when I color over my white, it's just going to blend in with my colors, and it's not going to take away from what I'm adding. It might just make it a little bit darker. As long as I didn't press too hard with my color on my paper, it probably won't even make that big of a difference. So I've started with the orange, and then I went in with a little bit of brown, and now I'm going over with my yellow and starting to fill in any of those empty spots, adding a few little highlights. And just like with regular paints, anytime that I add white to my oil pastels, it's going to make it lighter, or if I add black to it, it's going to make it darker. So if I have a color that is, I don't know why these reds aren't working so well, but if I have a color that's not dark enough for me, I can always add a little bit of black. Remember that black is a really strong color, so I want to add a little bit of it at first because I can always add more. And then with the white, I can use that to just lighten things up just a little bit. So if I want to add some highlights here, I can do that with my white. And then if I come back over with some of my original colors, it'll help blend that in a little bit more. Now, when I'm filling in with my oil pastels, I want to fill in everything completely. So if I'm coloring in my face, and if you've had me for integrated arts, you know that we've talked about this already. When I'm working on that idea of craftsmanship, really taking my time, doing my best, with the oil pastels, it's the same idea as working with colored pencils, paints, markers. This is not my best craftsmanship. So when I'm working on trying to fill in the entire space, and I can work right up to the space that I was just filling in with my hair. So the edge of my purple can bump right up against the edge of my hair. And then I'm just going to cover over my eyebrows for now, and then I'll come back in and add those later. And then I'll go right up to my hairline over here. And it does kind of help when you're coloring anytime with oil pastels, markers, colored pencils. It helps to put down a little bit of a border first. So I'm kind of working around the edge of my lips because I want those to be a different color. My nose, because it's just a line, I'm going to color over it, and then I'll fill that back in later. And then around my eyes, I'm going to put a little border, and then I'll come back and fill those in. Next, I'll do a little time lapse of me working on this so that you can see how it looks when I'm completely finished. Now I've got my entire face colored in. When we are finished with everything, so when I'm finished coloring in my tree and coloring in my moon and coloring in my house, adding color into the background, coloring in the sunflowers, everything, that's when we'll add black to go around everything, just to kind of make things pop and help us add a little bit more detail. So for example, my nose and my eyebrows, they're not going to stay like that. I'm going to add the black line over top of them just to show you what it looks like when I'm totally done. I'll use my black pastel and outline everything, so I'm going around the edge, and then I could also use it to add more detail. So like I could use it to add my eyelashes. This is a pretty thick pastel, but if I turn it and kind of catch it on its corner, I can still get a smaller line from it. And then I can add in my other eyebrow over here. I can add in my nose, and then I can kind of re-outline my lips like that. I can go around the edges of my hair, and it's just going to add a little bit more definition to everything and kind of sharpen up all of those edges around the edge of my face, and then finish this here. This is something that we will do at the very, very end. So don't do this today, because then if I start coloring in this tree with my green, here's my green, and if I get too close to this, I can accidentally pick up some of that black, and then that black is going to start working its way into my tree. So instead, I want to wait until I'm completely done with that, and then we'll do that as kind of like a last final step, but just to see where we're going, that'll be one of our final steps that we work with.